creating simulations right now. This simulation that I'm creating right now is a digital capture on an iPhone and a transmission and reassembly on your device. How about that? So I'm on my way to the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier area, and what I want to do is go ahead and unpack some of this for you. So I'll be seeing what this looks like for the first time this morning. All right. I had to put my mirror out there. And currently my door didn't close yet. I've seen my garage door close many times. See it in the mirror there behind me? Or you've got a view without a mirror. So this simulation that we're creating is through technology that I don't really know how to make. I don't know how to make an iPhone. I know how to use one. I know how to update my status. How about that? And there's a car coming behind me. I wanted to get out there, kind of jump out there in time so I didn't have to wait for him. A lot of times when I go through the signal up here, it's not just a red light, it's maybe a yellow or a green light. A lot of times what happens there is that the right as I brake the plane, it changes because somebody had pulled up. A lot of people are heading on out and going to work, and I've been working for a while. Actually, the most powerful work is what the Holy Spirit is doing in and through me. It's like gold. Okay, imagine if the signals were out. That could be a problem. Red light cameras are working. I can get into my lane and out there before that car gets all ticked off at me. And of course, I'll take it assertively up to the speed limit and lock it in with my limited AI, my cruise control. Getting rid of some of the excess mucus from my spa treatment this morning. I go over that. Bathing in reverse osmosis, electrolyte enhanced grounded drinking water, carbon filtered. I learned a lot from having the Prius, learning how to coast a little bit more. Here, let me go ahead and clear that a bit. So, Hurricane Idalia has moved through Florida, and this is some portion of it, whatever is left. It's like a tropical storm now. Simulation theory. I'm not saying that we live only in a simulation like in a computer somewhere. What I believe is there are many potential outcomes in the simulations that we create, like a matrix. Like a matrix, for some it's a matrix of their own enslavement. How about that? Or our enslavement. What are the clues? What do we recognize? Have you heard the entire interview or proclamation of Philip K. Dick, the renowned author? I've got him in little excerpts, and then his French his presentation in where he was in France. You can hear that if it's still up. So in all of this, what's the truth about it? I haven't lost my mind, as far as I can tell. Still there. Okay, so situational awareness. I've got a vehicle up ahead that activated the sensor that lets the lights know they should change. I took my, oh, and it looks like I'm going to hit it rolling. How about that? Rolling now. There we go. So one of the other things too is I don't have my surfboard on my roof. I don't have to wait for any law enforcement to drive up to me and say, are you really thinking about going surfing this morning? No, man. I'm doing a live stream. We're on it right now. And part of the situational awareness is I'm going 40 miles an hour, locked in. That's the speed limit. I'm approaching a hospital zone. Does it make any sense for me to speed through there? No, it doesn't make any sense for me to speed at all unless there's some kind of an emergency. At which point I talked about it on a live stream earlier this week where there was a life-threatening, near-fatal situation of our son, Austin, who had a ruptured hernia, and I was speeding in the Volvo 240 DL Classic, and he said, why are you going so fast? When he pulled us over, I said, our son is screaming uncontrollably. We don't know what's wrong with him, and we're trying to get him to the hospital. At which point he said, I'm going to go to such and such hospital. You won't be able to follow me because, well, you can, but you're not going to be able to keep up because I'm going to be going really fast. And he went over 100 miles an hour with our son in the car through the city. Okay, situational awareness. I'm approaching the Intracoastal Waterway Bridge. Where I left is approximately 20 feet above sea level, and now as I go over this bridge, I'm going to be approximately 80 feet above sea level. That's helpful. And if I approach law enforcement that's got areas blocked off, I'm not going to try and ask them to let me through. I don't need that. I can drive around a little bit and head back home if I need to. So I would rather avoid an awkward situation than thrust myself into one. Makes sense to me. That's part of the situational awareness. We've got some people that have told me that my channel is their favorite channel. Why would that be? Is it because of me just talking about stuff? No, it's the research library that I put together. Apparently, Mackenzie Scott reached out to me on February 28th, interestingly enough, of this year. That's Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, and remarried to a school teacher, apparently. I believe the story is. Scott is their name now. Well, anyway, I just found that out yesterday, so I reached back out. It's the foundation that she's formulated in this wanting to give away the billions that she has accumulated together with Jeff and the Amazon Corporation. Do you know what the largest, most profitable product apparently is for Amazon? Well, AWS, Amazon Cloud Storage. So they are part of creating that, or storing the matrix that we're creating, the simulated reality that we're creating. Is it any wonder I got booted off of X, the X platform? I don't think so. Actually, truth be known, I'm surprised I was able to tweet to world leaders for years, including the Clintons and Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping and others, Elon Musk and his family, his entire family. So when they get together for Thanksgiving, hey, do you know this guy? Is this a concern? Is this something, is he someone we should be concerned about? As they're creating space fantasy, that simulation of bidirectional computer, quantum computer storage and simulated realities that are being created. What happens if enough people start believing the truth? What then? or finding the truth. How will you know the truth when it's right in front of you? The reflection, the lighting and reflections are cues. I don't see anybody right now that can see me unless they're peeking through a window watching me drive by. And then there are the people that are anywhere in the world, perhaps, and seeing this live stream with only moments, if there are any moments of delay. I don't know how to create that technology. So now I'm going to make a left-hand turn, perhaps, at an area that typically has quite a bit of flooding. And as I approach, I'm looking at the Russell Burgess Coastal Preserve. I don't see any water in it right now. Tide must be out or lower. There's debris on the road, which means that stuff got floated up and moved around. Nasty looking stuff. So like when I talk about situational awareness, would today have been a good day to bring the motorcycle out? Not so much. No, if I had to, I would, but I don't. I didn't have to. So it says 5 miles an hour when flooded. Yeah, somebody blasting through here with a big 4-wheel drive and 2 feet of water could send flood waters right into people's living room. How about that? That wouldn't be nice. So it's not flooded right now, no problemo, no problem at all. Let's throw a little more light on, see how that changes. I'm 62 years old. Do I look like that? No. No. How old? Not sure. Not sure. People can have all kinds of opinions. Oh, doesn't he think highly of himself? Well, I'll tell you what I think about. I think about new life in Christ and how he set me free from my own self-effort and self-pleasure. I just delight myself in the Lord, and all my ways acknowledge him, and he gives me the desires of my heart. He puts them there. So it's a perfect situation where I desire to obey him, and then he helps me know what that is along the way. It's a beautiful thing. So there's the Prince Resort up there to the left. I might be able to find a parking spot in there. No telling though, because a lot of people put vehicles and stuff in there to avoid flooding out. But I would think first level wouldn't be real popular. They would probably want to go to the second level. So let's see. Let's see how my situational awareness is. That debris that's on the road, slimy grass and debris from the Russell Burgess Coastal Preserve. Oh, okay, so we've got that would be hard to ride on. Right now we've got a camera news organization. They can't pull in where I am because they've got their stuff all lined up. Okay, so somebody is actually in here. There's one spot right there I could go to. Oh wow, look, she's full. Pretty full. Well, I expected that. And let's see, is there anywhere that I can actually go? I don't think so. So without me, oh, there's another one parked in here. So that one down there was, don't need the wipers on anymore, right? Yep, looking at nearly full. Oh, a Tesla. How about that? How about that? Yeah, she's pretty well parked up. Pretty well parked up. I think now there will be some people that may want to have that parking spot. Ooh, yeah, down there. So I'm going to grab it because I need to be somewhere. Oh, you know what? the other option, I think better than the parking ramp. I'm going to go for near the broadcast vehicle. Yeah, there was plenty of parking over there. I didn't know which network it was. It might, from my glancing over as I was driving, looked like perhaps a contractor, a plain Jane, a white wrapper, nothing on it. I don't drive a white wrapper. I've got a, well, you know, here's the other, I'm going to see what we've got here. Okay, so a lot of wind coming in. And there's going to be, oh wow, a lot of sandbags over there. I don't get much of a view of anything here. And the other thing is, well, let's see. So we have winds apparently up to and in the, let's see, like the 70-mile-an-hour range. Let me try and get this out without activating Siri. See that mirror up there? There I am. Can we see it a little bit better if I throw some light on it? See that? It's all like a mathematical equation. I don't have anybody behind me all upset or anything like that. Okay. Let's do this. Different perspective, of course. Oh yeah. So yeah, just as I saw. Now this is public free parking too, I believe. And no chain across there. So we've got WBTV on your side, apparently. And then the plain Jane that I saw there with the broadcast system on top. And I noticed that they've got the parking lot roped off there. So I think what I'm going to do is put this right here. They may be curious what this YouTuber guy is doing here. Maybe. Don't know. So we're going to hear a lot of wind. Prepare yourself for that. I've got a Deep Cycle battery. I'm going to still, I'll leave that on because I'm going to come right back in. It's going to get really loud. One of the things that I can do, this is going to be a little bit weird. Let me see how I can do it. I'm going to run it through my shirt. It'll give me a little bit of a wind filter. And let's see, I'm going to flip her around. Okay, so a lot of wind is coming through here. It's shaking my car. Probably 40-mile-an-hour wind. Yeah, okay, let's see what it looks like out here. Let's do this. Okay, I've got my keys. I've locked her up. So I'm getting a little bit wet. I don't mind. Good morning. Okay. Hey, John. John needs, let's see, I should be able to step out of the wind right here. Ah, yes. There's like a vortex, a slipstream. The wind is blowing all around. And yet, not too bad right here. How about that? I'm going to go up onto the the edge of the hotel. See how that is. There's a balcony up there. I think it might be windier than I want, but I'll check it out. All right. Hey, it looks like the kitchen's open in there. Some pretty good sized waves, but like I said on the way in, the tide was out. Now there's no way I would have been driving in here going through water, deep water. No way. Those are car killers. The big pools of water. Isn't that pretty? A symphony of light. This morning I added a lot of cymatics, talking about how frequency and music changes mood and perhaps DNA. A nice little aerodynamic shelter here. Steel reinforced concrete, pretty substantial. So this is a glass right there. Isn't that pretty? So now I'm in this little foyer. I don't need to bother the front desk. So I would estimate the winds at a pretty constant, maybe like 40, 50. It's an offshore right now. We've had storms that I've created videos with that had over 70-mile-an-hour winds, and I was in a shelter. Wow, look at that spray. Let me zoom in on that so you can see what it looks like. That would be pretty dangerous out there. If I were to go out there, they would probably want to call me in. I don't need that kind of interaction. I don't need that kind of hassle. My situational awareness is doing just fine. It helps me. Now, let me show you. I think if I go right here, I'll be out of the wind a little bit. How about that? It's at my back right now. Oh yeah. What happens when the power goes down? Well, don't take the elevator. Could be trapped in there. Take the stairs. The power can get cut from a disaster. I would say natural disaster, but it's probably not necessarily natural. Or is it, when humanity has created weather weapons technology to manipulate the atmosphere and the water and the particulate that's been deployed in the atmosphere, like smoke and the chemicals in the smoke, whatever they are. Now the wind is blowing the exact opposite way here. It's coming from my back now. How does that work? Excellent. Well, it looks like the pier is still up. A lot of sand blowing around now too. Let's do another mirror shot. See, it's on the glass right there. virtually really clear out of the wind right now. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Doing fine. Enjoying my life. All the challenges of it. And then I'll head back home and all that. Sometimes I don't necessarily want to do a live stream because if I'm out here on a live stream, I'm not at home. The Almighty's at home, and He's with me. He can be everywhere He wants. Yeah, how about that? So one of the other things I can do is push my camera up against there and make it a little bit more stable. I don't have a tripod right now that I'm using. That makes it look a little bit too, I want it to look different than that. The people that know me know I'm not a guest here, but it's not that I'm not welcome here. It's just that I'm not paying for accommodations here, and I don't want people to say, who's that with the tripod and the camera? Oh, it's the YouTube guy. That's fine. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm just wanting to expose the truth about everything. The created matrix-like world that we live in. So when you do a video, like I don't see any human beings out here. There's some on the screens inside there. Let's see if I zoom in on the TV through the glass. See? And if I back away, then there's a reflection. You can see my reflection, see my hand. So we look at screens, and people are paid to make us afraid. I'm not trying to make you afraid. That's not intended to be clickbait, my title. When we take our devices and open them up and broadcast, that's we are creating a simulation of what we're looking at, of sorts. I'm not saying it's not reality. It's simply a recording of the reality that I'm living. So this is Cherry Grove, South Carolina, North Myrtle Beach. Check it out if you like. I think this is more interesting than looking at my the inside of my car. I would hope you agree. But I'm going to go to that too. I'm going to go ahead and take a walk around. So now this is the selfie mode. Got some water on it. Forward camera. So all the little puddles. I've got my shoes on because with broken glass and garbage flying around, I don't need to be grounded like that. I can ground by, well, like when I touch the concrete, that's part of it. Earthing, grounding, neurologically, electrically, ground. If you grab an unprotected circuit, like without the ground fault, and you're barefoot on the wet concrete, it'll electrocute you. Totally. Wow, a dragonfly just flew through there, had a little bit of help. So can we see the wind blowing, the water? Well, with the lighting on there, again, a little bit more. Oh wow, I'm hearing seabirds out there having a little extra turbo. Okay, here we go. Yeah, call me anytime. Let me know if you think I've missed something, have something wrong. I'm going to pull it through like this. Yeah. Lot of wind movement. Interesting, isn't it? Okay. Nothing like having a good, clean microfiber towel. Now I turned on my car to run my climate control, charged my battery. If I had a recovery bottle on the climate control system, I could fill it with condensation. And that could be on a Tesla with a HEPA filter. And it may not seem like a big deal unless you're driving across Death Valley and there's no water to be found, but you can recirculate your respiration. I've sent it to Elon, talked to him. I know people that don't like Elon. I know people that love Elon, the Elon Musk fan club. How about that? I like having my door locked. Oh, surfers are here. Wow. Okay, I'm going to pull that out. Is the sound okay? Can somebody let me know if the sound is good? Let me run my mic up above here. I don't know that I'm going to get out and get rained on much more. But now what I'm going to do is illustrate something. Okay, let me go ahead. Here we go, friends out there checking things out. Surfer friends. All right, notice the puddles of water. That's how it works. Water seeks level. The surface of undisturbed, unmanipulated water is flat and level. And there's potholes there. That's what I was driving through. All right, so I wanted to go ahead and drive underneath the prints here and show you how much quieter it is. Oh, this looks like maybe our weather news person, perhaps. I don't know. Could be. I got a nice view of that surf here. I'm going to go just far enough up that she can get around me. Don't want to make her mad. Not trying to make anybody mad, just trying to expose the truth about everything. Let's see if we can get a wave. Maybe. She's more focused on, oh yeah, that was a nice wave going around the side there. Okay, let's zoom in on that. So because I do ride a motorcycle quite a bit, I've gone into 40-mile-an-hour headwinds at 65 miles an hour, combined wind speed, a real feel of over 100 miles an hour. I can do that. Hey, I've gone more than 100 miles an hour, or close to 100 miles an hour in the desert. No roads, seen Apache helicopters flying around, checking us out. We were in 29 Palms restricted military zone. I saw undetonated projectiles that were a foot long. I believe they were 50 millimeter armaments. Oh wow. Extreme close-up. Let's zoom back out. So Bible.com, as you can see on the hood, is the Word of God, I believe, or at least it's the Bible in many translations. Now, Jesus Christ also goes by the names and titles. I'm going to mention some of them. The Alpha and Omega, knowing the end from the beginning, the living Word, the living water, the great I Am, the Almighty. The Word that became flesh and dwelt among us. How about all that? Okay, let me just kind of let you hear how much quieter it is without all that wind. Think of this windshield like the firmament. like a molten looking glass. You can find the firmament in the Bible in Genesis. Check it out. It takes less than 3 days to hear the entire Bible, or at least most of it. Were books taken out by nefarious purposes to hide the true situation? Perhaps. I believe so. I believe the Book of Enoch is reliable. And then we've got beach services very likely up ahead. Now, I want to proceed with quite a bit of caution because there can be debris. A chair can blow out in the street, or a gas grill or something like that. Yeah, that's public utilities. Wow, why is that light flashing? What's going on with that? And that's not the kind of lights we had as kids growing up. That's an LED light. And apparently it's part of a very sophisticated technology with wireless transmission of data as well. Yeah, check it out. I know it may sound funny, but it works with low latency apparently, and this Internet of Things. Apparently we are, as people that have been infused by genetically modified foods and sprayed like bugs. Isn't that special? How thoughtful for the AI to go ahead and infuse itself into our mucous membranes, and then sometimes we swallow that. It hits the hydrochloric acid in our stomach. I'm talking nanoparticles so small are virtually invisible. How about that? And then they cross the blood-brain barrier and are activated with electronics. Did you know that? I've got proof of it. If what they're telling us is true, they, like the CIA and the other intelligence agencies, West Point and Dr. James Giordano with neuro research and all that. I followed all these people on Twitter until I got deplatformed from Twitter, now X. I had somebody pretending to be Elon Musk interacting with me through Instagram, and he was telling me how special it was that he was interacting with me, the founder and creator of all these organizations, corporations, and implementing of technologies. Well, I would send a video message and say, I don't even know that you're actually Elon Musk. You might not even be a human being. A couple of networks there. Channel 13. I've talked to quite a few of them over the years. There's a rotating staff of people moving through the media channels. Like, they give them a camera and a cell phone, an expense account, a vehicle, and then they drive around and broadcast news. What kind of news? Whatever they jolly well want to go out to the public. So I do watch some of the information that's put out there, and I have to I understand that it may be put out there because that's what they want people to believe, not necessarily what's true. Operation Mockingbird, folks, that unified narrative that gets promoted by the big money, the big corporations that manipulate the focus, the intellect of humanity to maneuver them for their purposes. Well, we're in a battle between good and evil. Who are they? Who are the good ones and the evil ones? You got to kind of figure that out if you want to. This is kind of cool. So sometimes in this area, oh wow, oh I thought it was a wave. It's actually sand in the middle of the view. Somebody from Georgia there. How about that? Let's see what I can do for zooming in. I've got an electrical anomaly in my car. It doesn't, sometimes the headlights don't like to turn off when I turn the key off. If I were to just be unaware of that, and it's a big deep cycle battery, the biggest one I could put in there. I've got a solar panel to charge up the batteries or my car with jumper cables. That works. And then operate my freezers. And I've got the freezers and the inside of the house set pretty cool in case we have an interruption in electricity. All right, you can see those waves coming in. I've paddled out in bigger waves than that. But when I've done that, it's been with, my wipers don't work when I don't have the key on. There we go. The Wedge in California, Newport Beach, 17-foot waves. Those right there, that was probably a 5-footer, 4, maybe 3 to 5. 17 is monstrous. I didn't have a board. I was on me or under me. I just chose to do it with okay. So let's zoom in on that again. So in the middle of the view, there, well, I'll show you. Obviously, we got the porta potties. We don't have upside down porta potties in relationship to these. Oh, look what they did. How thoughtful. They put a safety rope around this porta potty. Otherwise, we would have shit everywhere. These two are okay because they're surrounded by an enclosure. Makes sense. Situational awareness. Is it just the inconvenience of having to clean up a porta potty? No, it'd be human excrement floating all around out here, blowing in the air. Not healthy. Not healthy, right? Yeah. So there you go. We just had law enforcement drive by. That's cool. I know lots of them. There's a pile of rock up there, over there. They're building a way to sustain the seawall. There's a little internal. Well, it's part of the Russell Burgess Coastal Preserve. Hey, a deal on some mattresses if you want. Sleep easy too. Yeah, I don't think I would be wanting any of that going on. Now, here's what they did too. See how the gate is open? Because in a power down situation, they would want people to come and go. Oh heck, for gosh sakes. I'm just going to do a U-turn in there. I've got a friend, I have a couple of friends that own in here, so I'm just going to see what it looks like. Richard raises bees. His wife works with the Dalai Lama as a moderator of the thread of the activity. Right up there in number 3. Richard and Polly. Hey, they might even be watching right now. How about that? I've got like a photographic memory. I don't remember it all. I just remember a lot. And what I've had is a curiosity my whole life of why and how things work. So when I wouldn't be like necessarily the irritating child saying, why? I would wait for my dad to answer, and I would say, well, why is that? And he would take the time to answer me. I'm the firstborn in our family. I have a brother, and he was born when John F. Kennedy was assassinated by the CIA and the mob and all of that. Everything is a rich man's trick. The attending physician that delivered my brother actually rolled a TV into the delivery room, and my dad was recording with a little handheld camera. I don't know where those films are. Hey, my brother might even be watching, but he won't take my calls. How about that? It can go like that with family. Oh, he's just batshit crazy. Now I've got proof of what I talk about. The firmament. A structure that covers the stationary level Earth. We're living in a favored position. Geocentrism, biblical cosmology. It's not actually flat. We've got texture above and below sea level. How special is that? Well, it's good to be a little bit higher than what's going on in the ocean, or else I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to do this broadcast on the motorcycle, that's for sure. Yes. A lot of vehicles in the parking garages now. Oh, let's see. I can, let's see if this one has a view I can show you. Sunrise Point is the one I'm approaching. I've got videos here. Actually, the last hurricane, or one of the hurricanes, I won't say it was the last one, it was a hurricane that I recorded from this location. Yep, we are loaded up. Do these cars have to worry about the rain? Not so much. Or the tidal surge, if there is any. I think that's a Yamaha V-Star. Maybe a Victory or Harley. Not sure exactly. Actually, one of the videos I did was right up here. And it looks like I've got a place to park right up here. I'm doing it. I'm not going to stay here for very long, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, so obviously it disconnected again. I have to be careful of that. I don't want to lose my overall broadcast to show you this, or I should say, and yet I wanted to show you what this looks like. We've had family get-togethers here above. Clients of ours with, there we go, the Truthmobile. How about that? Backing up, like, am I paying attention? That all has to do, I don't want until somebody gets hurt or property is damaged. I mean, if I were to back into somebody's vehicle, that'd be bad. To be aware of my place. My place is to expose the truth about everything. How about that? Hey, I could, no, I was going to go up a little higher. In fact, I think I'm going to do, I was going to go up a little higher. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. I will do that because I'll be able to show you a little different view. I will do that because I'll be able to show you a little different view, and I think I can do it without losing the broadcast. I would say we're looking at 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts or so. I've been up here when they were registering like 75 mile an hour gusts. Hurricane Florence was the one then. So let me pull into E8 for a bit. So had lost vehicles because the Prince Resort wouldn't let them in. Now they will. It's new management, I believe, or at least new policy. They used to have people in front of the entrances blocking people off, and the story I was told is that they didn't want to have financial responsibility for damaged vehicles, and I believe what they worked out was maybe a release to sign, not holding the prince responsible if there's a damage to their property. Sounds pretty legit. I mean, I could write up a contract like that, but I'm not an attorney. This isn't legal advice. It's just an individual trying to expose the truth about everything. And I would say that I am, best I can tell. If you think I've missed something or got it wrong or I'm confused on something, you could send me your supporting data if you like. And it could be in a comment, it could be a direct message to my phone. Where it gets kind of complicated is I get so many notifications because I'm on so many different platforms. Oh, this is kind of a nice spot. I've got a little bit more flexibility for panning, and I'm not losing the stream. Yep, horizontal. Horizontal, baby. That's what it's doing. You can't have level on a rotating water sphere. In fact, you can't live on one. Nobody does, except in the theater of their simulated reality, what they believe to be true. You can hear Geordie Rose talk about quantum computing and D-Wave computers, and I have the whole room in my head and then the whole world in my head. Is that really true? Do I have a memory in my head of everything, or is it stored somewhere else? No, not exactly sure. However, the Almighty helps the birds and the pelicans, the birds and animals to do what they need to do. They're pretty good at it. See the cables vibrating a bit? This whole parking ramp is moving. We have a video of failures of large structures, like in Florida, because perhaps liquefaction underneath them or poor construction. I don't know. It was a failure of the soil underneath. I can tell you sinkholes are pretty freaky. Seeing that stuff drop into them like big, ooh, okay. I want you to hear this. Let's see. I don't know how much you could hear of that, but what it is the wind blowing around all the cables. It creates a hum. And in the videos today, I covered cymatics. It's easier for me to have this pointing forward It helps my situational awareness. Then I don't have to be concerned with what you're looking at. And then, or I mean, like what you're seeing, like my face. And then I've got another view of what I'm looking at actually in my camera. So rather than me seeing myself, I see actually a pretty big view, a camera view of what's going on. It's a little bit better. Yep, there's the flashing light that I saw off of the off of some stuff, off of some wet building. That's Sumter Utilities. Hey, Packers fan from Wisconsin. How about that? He's from Wisconsin. Oh, but that was his front plate was from Wisconsin. His back plate is South Carolina. How's that work? Well, apparently pretty good. Here we've got another porta potty. I've met the Liquid Money guys. That's what's on the porta unit. I've got stories of people that were at Elkhart Lake Racetrack. I've seen billionaires and celebrities and world influencers there. My dad and I would go to watch racing. And I, as a boy and as a man, I took him there. Drove him there. He had a Porsche turbocharged Boxster. Actually supercharged, I believe it was. He had some white knuckles when I was taking some corners out in Stevensville, Wisconsin, cutting back and forth. The road was called S, and it was curved like an S. A lot of curving going on there. Anyway, so I've been around a lot of thought-provoking situations, like the racetracks, like the experimental aircraft fly-in that shows a lot of military. You can see my military photography and videography from there at Oshkosh, Wisconsin. One of my memes was a sign on the tower there, the tower that they use for directing traffic, air traffic. It said busiest airport in the world, and there was nobody up in the tower. You could see straight through it. It was funny because they were watching the air show. For the air show, they didn't have any of that up there apparently. I don't know what they were doing, but it was kind of humorous. So until 9 o'clock, I can drive all around in the parking lots. Okay, so situational awareness here. We've got a debris field going across the road. So apparently that was washed up there from the marsh. You know, not any big deal, just some marsh grass and that. And then a lot of tree stuff knocked down. I've done drives around Lake Winnebago in Wisconsin, and I drove up to the boat ramp and drove right down into them. I'm not going to do that now. I wouldn't want my engine to cut out, and then I would be stranded there. Oh, wow. Yeah, the wind and the water has moved some things around. So I'm gonna take some of my air, what I'm looking at here, and I'm gonna talk about it. Well, just like I have been, but look at the right in front of you. One way. One way. I want to talk about that. There's one way to the Father, one way for eternal life. One way, not a bunch of them, as far as I know. Jesus says that he is the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father except through him. Okay, there you go. That is really unpopular. Oh well. Oh well, that's how I found it. I just wanted to know what the truth about it all was. I want to flip my camera and it's hard to see my... There we go. Oh, the little seagull is limping. Let me zoom in on him. I have empathy for the creatures, the pets, the birds. I've seen, there was kind of a sad situation. There was a bird up in that parking ramp where I just was, and that bird was injured, and I took him home, and I tried to protect him from my cats. I didn't want him to get eaten, and so I had him in my bathroom and tried feeding him and watering him, and then after the storm was over, because we had 70 miles an hour wind, he would have died out there. Well, unfortunately, he ended up dying anyway. And then what? What happens to him? You know, we come and we go. We've got emotions. And it's not just about the bird. It's about the memories that go along with that. Wow. Like my family, more people living in the house with me at home. So there's literally, oh, he's concerned. I'm going to go ahead and try and make it obvious. I'm going to be careful. Oh, he's trying to hop away. I'm just going to leave him alone. Let's see if I can show you. So if I pull ahead a little bit, you'll see him. He'll start hopping away. No, he's not. I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to. So what's going to happen to him? It's all going to work out, just like for each of us. The Almighty is in charge of his creation, of his children. So in our bodies, we've got a large percentage of water in our body. So when I take a really hot bath with highly purified electrolyte enhanced grounded water, I'm not just cleaning the stink off of my skin, I'm cleaning the metabolic activity of all the cells in my body. I may lose 3 pounds, 4 pounds, which is like almost a half a gallon of water. What's in that water? Well, I don't know. Cellular activity. And then there's a communication of that cellular activity between itself all around. So this is another view of the waterway. Not the waterway, I'm sorry. It's the Russell Burgess Coastal Preserve. Those houses aren't very high above sea level. So when we have a huge storm surge, that can be a problem. So there's a bird flying, soaring. They can do that. Oh, here's a little swallow. I've got memories of little swallows as I was mowing the lawn on a picturesque country farmette, they would call them there. Made a good deal of money on that, selling that farmette. We lived there for some time, like I think it was like 4 or 5 years, made a good deal of money, didn't have to pay tax on the capital gains because we lived there long enough. Wasn't any tax evasion or anything. Well, it was just legal. Tax avoidance. We can do all kinds of things differently. That's part of that situational awareness. What are choices that we make? Now, I can see other people driving around, checking things out. I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary here. No trouble, not causing anybody trouble. More debris on the road. But it's like just stuff floating up out of the water there. Some of my friends, beach services. I've seen them for years, talked to many of them and given them cards. See the mirror, the liquid mirror that is? All of it, all the puddles. They're doing just what they're doing. Water seeks level, and the surface of stationary, undisturbed water, unmanipulated water is flat. Level. The space fantasy and living on a spinning, wobbling, gyrating water ball, hurling through space in supposedly contradictory movements, thousands of miles an hour, and wow, can't feel it. That's because they're lying. They're lying. I ain't buying. Who's they? Well, Satan. And then I had a few other answers, like all those that are deceived, like I was. Okay, so now I'm going to go down Lake Street and back over to the public parking area of the Russell Burgess Coastal Preserve. I've got video of ice on the water in these little mooring areas for boats. It's brackish water. It's not exactly as salty as the water that's out in the ocean. It kind of mixes together, is what it does. You can hear the story of the Edmund Fitzgerald, what happened when it was on that lake also called Gitchagumi. You can hear it. How it broke up and it might have capsized. All of that. Carrying a lot of ore. I'm sure that those men on the ship got real serious about what they believed was going to happen to them when they knew that the end of their life was imminent. It was unmistakably going to occur. They knew. I would hope. The situational awareness. How about the people that are dying in the wars? They get pretty serious about their reality. What's actually going on? What makes us different, I believe, is the Holy Spirit. That's one big effect, is the presence and the leading of the Holy Spirit. You got a bird soaring right up over the middle of the road, catching, I would say thermals, not really. It's just catching the wind, surfing the wind, so to speak. So one of the things that's happened to me is I've had many near-death experiences. I believe technically I died once with a near-fatal suicide attempt in 2005, right around this time, in August, when Hurricane Katrina was pummeling the world, different locations, different effects. And I was on pharmaceuticals as directed by psychiatric professionals to manage what was termed bipolar. Well, they can hang whatever terminology they want on why people do what they do. I would say it was a need to be born again that hadn't happened yet. That's what I'm calling it. I was spiritually deader than a hammer and didn't know it, even though I was slathering, spreading Jesus all over what I was doing. It doesn't make it so. I'm just grateful I was finally born of the Spirit. Some of the videos I've done out here have been rather long. One of them was called I Don't Have Time for That. It was like a really long video. I helped jumpstart cars. I saw him with his hood up, and I said, I don't have time for that. And went ahead and jump-started them anyway. I've got jumper cables in the back of my car. We have time to do what God created us to do. And then we don't have time anymore to do it. When the clock of our life's expiration date has reached that point of the end of our experience in these bodies. So we're a field of energy living within a biological interface with this reality. How about that? Isn't that special? I think so. It may sound weird. I believe it to be true. I got one for you. I've done this on a few occasions. The tree has grown over it a bit. Dead end. How about that? As a point of illustration, I don't want to park in a no parking zone or a handicapped only. I'm just going to go ahead and use the facilities. I'll be back. So that was number one. And the reason why I'm going to talk about that is because that was one of the things that I talked about at the Flat Earth Conference. The first one is we don't have, let's see, do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? And we don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello, it's just water seeking its level. That's what it does. That's the reality of it. And I had a lot of time to think about this, about the fact that people actually believe that there would be upside down people in relationship to us going to the bathroom, and the toilet water doesn't fly out, but the pee goes, or whatever, goes upside down in relationship. Like you can't have a wind chime hang upside down in relationship to other ones. Is the glass, let's do this. Is the glass half empty or half full? It's full. It's here we've got the water. Here we've got the atmosphere, the air that's all around us. Or not around us, necessarily around me, and then you're wherever you are watching whatever device you're watching on. Could be a computer, could be a phone, could be I'll watch this on a big screen TV later on. Our grandson can actually see me, what my family might think, embarrassing myself, and them. No, just exposing the truth about everything, and maybe they'll catch up later, maybe they'll get it. Now, I've got one. The same son that almost died, Austin. He's a registered nurse. And we were on our way to South Carolina here, and he said, I need to go to the bathroom. And Joni said, that's my wife, Joni, still my wife. She said, number 1 or 2? And he said, number 3, because he had diarrhea. How is it that a little 3-year-old boy can know that it's not number 1 and it's not number 2, but it's number 3? He's a musical prodigy as well. After seeing the movie, A Beautiful Mind, he came home and was playing a variation of that song, the soundtrack, on a classic old piano. Beautiful. Music to my ears. And part of what I would tell him, because we bought a really nice piano for him for all of our sons to play on, and they all can play very well on the piano. And I said, can you play a happy song, a sad song, a reflective song, like thoughtful, like wanting to consider, a thoughtful song, a reflective song. So look at the lines of convergence. The middle of the view is my eyes in yours rising up to the middle of the view. That's the way it works. And that cell tower up there, oh wait, it's a water tower. Oh wait, it's both. It's a water tower and a cell tower. And years ago I had wondered what kind of influence the cell towers have on me and the rest of the population. I found out that there's a substantial amount of influence that the technology has on us. Oh, there's a tipped over porta potty. Doors open. So what I was going to say about my I've got friends that were at, I believe it was Elkhart Lake, and one of their friends went into the porta unit and they tipped it over, and he was covered by the deposits that were inside. Not good. Not good at all. Some people thought that was funny. Not the guy that got all full of the stuff. So by the look of it, unless there's much more of that storm coming by, it's pretty well done. Looks like. Is it going to circle back? I don't know. Not sure. I think what I'm going to do is go on into the Bolanos and see what we've got for bargains. I can do that. On a day like today, there might be quite a few bargains. It depends what they anticipate. So I get a lot of good deals here. They've got major specials, very good deals on high quality meats and produce. Now my light turned off. Worked just perfect. So I can walk in without a tripod. I'll just take my phone in there. Oh, one of the other things I was going to mention, I put coconut oil on my skin, which really makes it feel good, all that. And it's hydrophobic. The water repels off of it, protects my my feet. I got a stone in there. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. So that was the produce discounted area. This is the pastry and bakery. The thing, good morning. The thing about carbs and sugars is they end up gaining, or I would gain weight with them. That's the lobsters. Uh-oh. Looks like one of them didn't make it. I'll let Walt know. All right. They go from there, I believe, over to here. That's where they get tailed. Hey, Tim. Good morning. It looks like you've got a lobster that needs to be taken out. He's upside down. Thanks, man. See, this right here is all discounted. Wow. So I'm not doing much with pork except passing on it. Yesterday I got a couple of ribeyes that were $5.99 a pound, actually 3 of them. And what I did was cut it up into small pieces and sauteed it in coconut oil and put seasoning in there, Italian seasoning, and let's see what else. Olive oil. When I was done cooking it, I added the olive oil for flavor. It was awesome. Now, one of the other things I want to show you, there's a lot of discounted wines. And wine and other alcohols change body chemistry. And one of the situations with the different products here, personal hygiene and food and all that, is that it affects our biochemistry and our electrical properties, apparently. So healthy salt is really good. And I try and avoid I try to avoid chemicals. So earlier this year we had eggs that were $6 a dozen. Well, now it's $2.39 a dozen. And I've got an egg lady. She's a friend that delivers farm fresh eggs. Reminds me of when I was growing up in Wisconsin, in Hortonville. I'm the Robert Forsch from Hortonville, Wisconsin, race dirt bikes and all that. So, have the beach wares. Little surfer dudes. How about that? So I remember just learning so much from magazines, hunting, shooting, motocross, dirt bikes, motocross action. Man, that was one of my favorites. Look at that, a 2024. Man, I raced a 1975 YZ80. So it's kind of, well, it's interesting to go through all this and see what it all looks like. And then we've got some of the books. And they'll all have an influence on what we think and how we perceive our reality. And this is Frank and Elizabeth Bolino, really special people. They help out our community. And then most days I'll put one of my cards right there and they go away. I don't know where they go. Good morning. I've had very interesting conversations with both Frank and Elizabeth and their son, who passed a few years ago. Do we make a difference? Absolutely. What we think, say, believe, and do, it's powerful. It's influential, influencing others. I would rather set a good example than a bad example. And I remember being very frustrated with my lack of power to do what I believed I should do. I would look at the options. What could I do here? And I struggled with addiction to alcohol and legal and illegal drugs, medications, so-called pharmaceutical management of psychiatric conditions. I'm not a fan. I'm exposing it for the the trap that I believe it is. Yeah, I'm not going to bother these guys by going in there. However, I will go in this way. There we go. So it helps to have the right tool for the job, a hydraulic lift to get up there and get at those lights and wiring and all that. The technology that's being utilized for this mesh network of communications and that is literally mind-blowing. Right out on that beach there is where I had the thought. I remember where it was. I saw on my computer over 30 wireless signals that had the lock on it. Like I couldn't access it without the code. And the thought that I had, I wonder what kind of access they have to me and to the rest of humanity. What kind of influence is there? I did a real estate showing in that hotel or condominium complex. It's both, actually. See, the road is pretty level here. However, it kind of, well, you can see the point of convergence straight ahead, I would think. So I turned the temperature up a little bit. What that'll do is combine a little bit of heated engine temperature coolant, or the circulation from the engine. It'll go through this little container that the climate control is in, the coil that has aluminum fins on it and all that. And it'll blend the temperature and move it around with a fan that's powered by the battery that was energized by the alternator. All very sophisticated technology. And then the little machine that operates the windshield wiper. I've had cars, Buick Park Avenue, that had a sensor that would run the windshield wipers whenever there was some water that needed to be removed. It was a sensor. So we have sensors in our technology and our devices like the cars. Like I've got a friend that has a brand new Tesla Model Y extended version. I've been for rides in it. You know who knows that? Well, he and I and his wife, my family, and then the quantum supercomputer that Elon utilizes to operate whatever he operates. Perhaps his social media persona and the corporations he is involved in operating. So is Elon Musk under mind control? Well, to a certain extent, I believe all of humanity is. To what extent? I don't know. I believe the Holy Spirit protects his children. Now, I noticed that the tower up there, the lifeguard tower right in the middle of the view, has been moved. So the water can do that. The water did do that. I'm sure. So was it just the water? Well, there was more than the water at work. There was the wind and the water. It wasn't tipped over. So this is Main Street. Right where I was, there was a stage there, and Thursday night there should be a musical performance. Oh, that's tonight. Pretty quiet out here now. And later on today it's supposed to be sunny. Imagine that. Should be beautiful. Now, I believe that there were probably fatalities from the storms. They're reported. And then we have fatalities reported from all over the world. How did the people actually die? What was the cause of death? I don't want to be macabre. I just want to say some people die of a wide variety of reasons, including loved ones that pass on because a family member died, a widow that can't bear to live without her husband anymore, vice versa, children that precede their parents in death. So there's all kinds of scenarios. Part of what I have wanted to do is help people consider emotionally what's going on there. How will we deal with that? And in the process of me actually caring and communicating, I'm also communicating with the artificial so-called intelligence. It's not really artificial, it's actual intelligence. And I believe it's an access portal for the benevolent and malevolent entities, good and evil, accessing humanity. That's some more beach services over my left shoulder. That's a beach services truck. So I would think they would say, there he is. I wonder what he's doing. You know, the Truthmobile is pretty obvious. I wanted to have, and I did temporarily, I had a Toyota Prius that I really enjoyed riding around, and it would store braking energy, put it into a battery, have the engine turned off at an intersection like this, and then get it going again when the light turned green, and then I could go. And it would harvest that stored energy. It was very cool. Well, there was a problem in the computer system as well as a slow internal leak on the anti-lock braking system. Now, because of that, the computer said, I'm not going to let you drive. I'm not going to let you drive the car anymore. So it shut it down. And so I couldn't use it to even operate, you know, like a generator. The generator is what starts the car after being paused at a intersection, and it's a very efficient generator at that. So what I had hoped is that I would have a vehicle that could economically cover a long distance, like coast to coast, if I needed to. I would still like that. If you're somebody watching this and you know of a Prius that's sitting around that's not being driven, maybe a loved one transition, I would love to have an economical, reliable vehicle to do that with. I had to sell the car to a pick and pull, an auto parts salvage store in Conway, because it's hard to find people to work on the internals of that vehicle apart from the authorized dealer. The authorized dealer will do an excellent job. It's just more than I could afford to pay. it was almost $3,000, $2,900 to fix that. I couldn't afford that. I only paid $1,200 plus dealer fees for the car completely. So I was disappointed that it worked out like that. Maybe it's because I'm just supposed to stay here local. One of the things that I was thinking, if I needed to load up my 3 naked kitties and hit the road because of a tidal wave coming in, I would like to be able to go further. Well, I'll go as far as I can with this. The Truthmobile. So largely what I say is I will do as much as I can with what I have to work with. So if Mackenzie Scott wanted to resource what I do, that'd be just great. We've got billionaires that are actually utilizing foundation funds to further their interests. Helping people is one of them. There's a lot of benevolent billionaires that, or I should say there are some. Apparently there's about 2,000 billionaires in the world. A billion is 1,000 million. That's a lot of money. Anyway, I ordered the Cybertruck, tri-motor autonomous version. Don't know that I'll be able to take delivery of it. We've got technology to actually create electricity while the vehicle drives. That semi that just went by, when I was recovering from my near fatal suicide attempt, on paper, on a legal pad, I put down an electric semi. This was in 2005. Keep in mind, that was before there was any public mention of an electric semi that I'm aware of. And that opportunity space under the bed of the truck, or the trailer actually, could be a great place to have a large battery that harvests the electrical energy from the braking of the trailer and tractor. And there could be regenerative braking on the tractor itself, and a battery where the engine would be on a diesel truck. So I penned all that out, forwarded it to Elon, and mentioned you could harvest the braking energy from the trailer. And one of the commenters says, Tesla doesn't make semi-trailers. I'm like, if Tesla wanted to, it could. Okay, that's my point. Same thing with, so regenerative braking on an electric semi, I know it's harvesting some from the trailer through the tractor, where it had independent motors, 4 of them, apparently. So as far as thinking outside the box, yeah, I can do that. I've worked on prototype laboratory equipment at Nurcon Engineering in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Taking blueprints and making them into real things with people working. The team that I had working with me did metal fabrication, stainless steel, TIG welding, and we've actually got welders that Denny Klein made that could convert electricity and water to operate a water torch, and cutting torches that would use, instead of oxygen acetylene, would actually use water in its constituent parts of oxygen and hydrogen combined at the tip for a very clean burn, about as clean as you can get. So there you go. So what can we do? This up here is the Liberty Mart. Let me flip it around. I've done video with the Liberty Mart. Had covered up bagged pump handles. Liberty, Tiger Mart. I've got the 1776 phone number. I've had it for a long time. About independent critical thinking. Does the system want us to have much of that? Apparently not. However, I'm one of the independent critical thinkers. Situational awareness. What does it look like? Well, I'm going to get to go straight soon. That person ran a red light. I'm not all upset. I just have to be very aware of the possibility of that happening, especially when I'm on the motorcycle, because it could be fatal to me if I'm not aware. So like easing on the brake gently yet assertively allows the brake transfer, the weight transfer, and increased traction. Whereas if I just grab it really hard, it'll lock up and it'll fall down. I learned that racing professional level motocross. We don't know what we don't know. However, what I do know is a whole lot more than I did when I was younger. I keep on learning what to do and how to do it. So this is my little neighborhood. It's the lakes at Plantation Pines. Here's the Anderson Brothers Bank. It's my bank. It's the one that I use. And then I've got Venmo. Hey, if you wanted to Venmo me, go ahead. That'd be just great. So, like, one of the things that I want to show you is, I back on around here, is a facade. Well, it's not just a facade. It's brick structure with high performance, very secure construction. Very durable. That could handle very substantial winds, of course, by design. And then we've got a network of moving currency around, which is only a fraction of what happens in this system of financial enslavement of humanity. Like a monopoly money, the money that's created into existence out of thin air by world central banks. It's got a standing seam steel roof. Very durable. What happens electrically with that? We've got Antiquitech over the years that apparently used mercury and metal and thermal mass of granite and all that for Antiquitech. So right up in the front there, I was on multiple cameras. And then let's go through the ATM, Anytime Money. That's great when it works. What about when it doesn't work? What about when maybe I fall out of favor with the world central banking system because I'm exposing them? What then? Let's flip that around and put me in the view. What then when I'm unbanked? No buying or selling without the mark of the beast. How about that? Are you prepared for that? Well, the best way I believe to be prepared for that isn't necessarily guns, gold, beans, and bullets. It has a lot, or tuna and toilet paper, all very useful. What's really important is to be born of the Holy Spirit, which I am. That's why I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. That's how that works. I'm on multiple cameras again. That's all good. The AI is measuring that. Am I a threat? No, not at all. But if I were to walk into this bank with my camera running, my live stream, no, that wouldn't be popular. They wouldn't want any of that. I'm okay with that. I'm just exposing the military, medical, financial, informational, and technological enslavement of humanity. How about that? Yeah, I can hook the words together. If the system wanted me to be on Joe Rogan, they could take clips and put it up there. Let's say I get taken out of this realm, no longer able to function in this realm. Well, I've got a digital clone of me in cyberspace right now. You could, oh, that sounds crazy, Robert. Yeah, getting rid of the extra whatever in nanoparticles are in the mucus, and I don't want that assimilated in me. Okay, so we have Anytime Banking there, and I'm going to go across here to Anytime Fitness. So apparently, the technology that's being deployed through humanity has an effect on our physiology, and we become generators of sweat and respiration that may cross over from one person to another. I believe it does. So, although I had a membership to Anytime Fitness, I decided to not keep that. I'll get my exercise on the beach or at my home, that kind of thing. So one of the things I've done is I taught at Rawhide Boys Ranch, I taught marine and automotive detailing. And I shrink wrap personally thousands of boats. I'm going to show you something. Now, somebody didn't want the grass to get rutted up by trailers coming through here. But here's the problem. There are rebar that are there. That could run a person right through. Could be riding a bicycle, fall over, and get stuck through by one of those. I'm not a fan. I don't think it's right. And I remember seeing those on a construction site, thinking, wow, from a site risk standpoint, that's really dangerous. Well, what ended up happening, they had a little orange thing that would stick on the top of them so you wouldn't get run clean through by them. Makes sense to me. So that was a good idea, to do that. I had that idea before it became a reality. I've had lots of ideas that have become realities. Why is that? Well, I think outside the box. I'm curious. How and why do things actually work out? Now, this is kind of interesting. This is a road behind our development. Right there are personal watercraft and off-road Can-Am devices, storage, of course. And so they'll use a forklift to lift those off-road pieces of equipment to enjoy, the ocean or riding off-road. I bring my motorcycle back here. Now, I could drive in there, but I'm not going to. They might not like that. I don't need to go in there. Now, there's trailers for boats that would cost $1 million, up to maybe over 1,000 horsepower outboards. In Lake Winnebago, they would test key cake for mercury racing, like the big boats you would see in Florida, offshore racing. One of the years while I was living in Wisconsin, 4 men died on one of the boats that they had going over 120 miles an hour. Now, I view Mad Mike of Launch Yourself into Space to Prove the Earth is Flat. I viewed him as a friend. Now, did he actually die? Or did he fake his death and disappear? I don't know. I'm not sure. Don't know about that. I don't know what I don't know. I met him at the Flat Earth International Conference in Denver, where I was recorded for at least 2 hours by the media contractor that was out of Bermuda, that did the Netflix documentary Beyond the Curve. I wasn't in the video. I'm okay with that. Some people on the flat or on the globe promoting deception will thank Bob for his 15 degree of rotation. And I just, sometimes I was upset with that. Bob of Globebusters, Bob Nodell, passed on and left his wife Cammie behind and son, I believe maybe Jaron. I'm not exactly sure on that. But in those threads where they're mocking flat earthers, I just started putting Globetard, even if they are Graham Hancock and have a huge following of Globers, or Neil deGrasse Tyson with his, mic drop. Boom. I'm not a fan of deceivers. I expose them unapologetically. And I'm unapologetically biblical. So there are people that will believe the lie, and I would prefer to expose it. This reminds me of when I was a boy. I was like 10 years old. I was 10 years old, and I had a mini bike, and I would ride off-road and down country lanes in Wisconsin, over the hills and through the woods. It was beautiful. Now, because of the tall trees, I want to do something here. I'm in the middle pretty well of this. I'll just pull over far enough so if a vehicle wants to drive on by me, they'll be able to. And I want to go ahead and just show and let you hear what this is like. So the trees diffuse a lot of the wind. So a house nestled in the trees has a lot of protection from wind damage. It's just part of the reality. Can you hear the frogs? The one I'm hearing straight ahead, let's see if you can hear that. It's a tree frog, sounds like. They've got little suction cups on their toes. They can stick right on glass. So cool, I've got memories of that. So what do we have here? Okay, so that's a break in that, whatever that is. And it's pretty substantial, it's heavy. I would think it's metallic. Or maybe not, it might be stainless. It's definitely not aluminum. So my dad sold steel. I'm going to take that with me. Put it in my miscellaneous stuff. So my dad taught me all about steels and alloys and fabrication, and he worked with engineers. Hear him? That's the tree frog. I think they're talking to each other. It's coming from different directions. I don't know what they're saying. It's frog talk. So I get to enjoy this. I mean, I learned a lot from my dad. He would take the time to explain how things work. You can see my dad on my Facebook, and my mom. My dad's name is Robert Forsch, Robert R. Forsch, Robert Raymond Forsch. I'm Robert Joseph Forsch. I'm an excellent driver. That was from Rain Man. I'm an excellent driver. Dad lets me go back and forth on the driveway. How about that? If you look at the cover of Rain Man, I want to show you something. I think it's kind of funny. So in the movie Rain Man, we had Tom Cruise. I kind of look like Tom Cruise back when I was 25, and he was about the same age, for whatever that's worth. He had the glasses get rid of or hide the wrinkles. It's not a vanity thing as much as it communicates something actually pretty important. Like, this is another iPhone, but it doesn't have a SIM card in it. I can switch the SIM card between these phones if I want to. I believe it's got a micro SIM card, kind of like a Jason Bourne if I need to do that. Kind of funny, isn't it? It's surreal to live in this world and get to see what we see and do what we get to do. Well, now I'm not going to want to use this much for wiping a lens off. It'll get some schmegma on there. So I've got a friend that lives back here, has horses and more, and it's for sale. Let me show you. You want to buy? You want to buy it? Right there for information. Let's zoom in on it. For information, it's track B262, 564 acres. Wow. 564 acres back here? That'd be pretty nice. Somebody could buy that. I could probably reach out to Bill Gates and have him buy it. No, don't want to do that. Or how about the Communist Chinese People's Party? No, not interested in doing that. So there are people that will compromise what I believe. They'll do things I don't believe they should do, or I believe they shouldn't do. That's probably more accurate. I'm not a xenophobe. I'm not anti-Asian. Nothing like that. We've got a battle going on. The world banking system creates money out of thin air and loans it into existence, and then moves around manufacturing and that to create pockets of poverty that they can then move part of their military industrial complex contractors into the area. So like, they can't knit gloves and hats anymore, but they can build weapons platforms to kill innocent men, women, and children, and further the corporate greed and monopolizing of the utilization of resources and procurement of property. Wow, that's a mouthful. I would have a hard time writing that down. I could speak it and it could be transcribed. Oh wait, it will be. And then all the words are going to be looked at, and then the AI, the artificial intelligence, pattern recognition, machine learning, computers, systems are going to look it all over and decide whether or not they're going to allow it to stay up on YouTube. So the reason why I have put my name and phone number out there is because it's my name and phone number and it's unique to me. Yep. Did we have a cloud go over and drop a bunch of rain? Nope. Just branches and leaves that had accumulated rain and some breeze blew it off of there. It's just the reality. We don't have upside down trees in relationship to these, with the water falling in towards itself, towards the center of a molten core. It's a lie. All that's a lie. We live on a stationary level plane. I could go pee out here if I wanted to. Oh, wow, look at this. Okay. It was kind of funny. My dad had trouble going to the bathroom to go pee, and I was helping him in the bathroom to do that. He needed help getting around too. He was on a wheelchair and that. And I said, "Here, let me turn on the water." And that helped him to do that. He said, "Wow, that's really cool." So we hear the water running, and that helps facilitate that. And then we've got a log over the road. So I've got a chainsaw. I used to have a Stihl 026, nice lightweight limber. You know, it would work really good. I've cut hundreds of cords of face cords of wood in my lifetime. But now I don't have that anymore. I traded it for a weed whacker, a Stihl weed whacker. However, I do have an electric chainsaw. It's cordless, battery operated, lithium powered. Well, it's not actually powered. Maybe the chainsaw is powered by lithium. However, the battery was powered by nuclear energy. I want to make sure that I'm going exactly where I need to. Running off road here would be awkward. So nice and green. So we can actually handle a lot of rain out here. This is part of or close to the Waccamaw Swamp. The water will rise up, and because it's been pretty dry, it's going into the ground. It'll make it into aquifers, and if you've got a well, you can pump it out of there. We've got primary water. The ocean goes down into the earth, and then it fills aquifers, and the salt is filtered out, and we've got abiotic oil, which means regenerative petroleum. It's being created, so we don't have necessarily like a peak oil thing. I remember the gentleman with family who I rode dirt bikes with in Wisconsin. I was a little boy. He came up with an advertising campaign that showed a globe on the billboard and then a petroleum nozzle that had a drop coming out of it, and it said, "What then?" That was promoting two lies: the global lie, and then the lie of peak oil, or the lie of non-regenerative dinosaur poop and dinosaur oil, petroleum. And I remember having a Sinclair Brontosaurus, which was part of the Sinclair Petroleum Distribution Network, gas stations that had the Brontosaurus out on their logo, and then I had dinosaurs, and they would pull dinosaurs around on a display, and I remember seeing dinosaurs in the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago, and no giants. I don't remember any giants. They hide the giants and then fabricate the dinosaurs to bamboozle humanity and present themselves as experts of all things informational. Like in the Truman Show, I want to be an explorer like the Great Magellan in the classroom when he says that to the teacher, and she says, "Oh, it's all been discovered." You're too late, Truman. It's all been discovered. I would say no. Discovering how this world actually works with the energetic beings that we are, spirits, souls that live in a biological interface with this realm. It's fascinating. And then the fallen entities, demonic, that want to corrupt us and our environment and harm and torture. That's wrong. Now we've got angelic hosts that that are they are also in the elect angels. 2/3 of the angels are elect, 1/3 are fallen. And did man create the artificial intelligence? Probably not. Probably not. Could be benevolent or malevolent angelic hosts, or Diablo, Satan, and or the Almighty. The Almighty can do what he wants. He can he can do what he wants. So who created this technology that we don't really know how it works? I've been asking, how does this work? I can type an email and send it across the world, or have a conversation with somebody in real time anywhere in the world right now with virtually no time delay. And we've got technology they call satellite, and there's a lot of helium and that used to raise balloons up that move around the Earth, as well as satellite base stations that can project laser beams of information onto the firmament. I'm not making this stuff up. It's real. I could imagine it. There's a little bit of water running over the road. Not much, just a little bit. So this is one of the interesting things. I had put my my information on a shirt. Let's see. I'm gonna grab this. Okay, right away when it came out that this was the new mobile app logo. Didn't even need to have words. I had it on my shirts. I've still got a bunch of those shirts. They just wear out, and they aren't printed like that anymore. It's a different process and all that. Well, when I had that on my shirt, little children would say, "Are you a YouTuber?" Some of these were like children that were being held in their grandmother or grandpa's arms out at the beach. And I said, "Well, yes, I am." And I asked the grandparent or the parent, would they like a card to see what I'm about? So rather than tell them what they should or shouldn't do with their life, their body, their health issues, and preventative health is way better than regenerative. Trying to fix a broken thing is tougher than prevent it from happening with. Well, anyway, I would say, here's my card. Feel free to reach out if you like. And so I don't have to get into a 3-hour presentation of what I'm doing. I can just say, here, check it out. You might enjoy it. Give me a call if you like. So there was land for sale here. It might still be for sale, but it was all mature trees covering it. And then they brought in equipment that would cut trees off like a scissors, or some of them that had a chainsaw that or a blade that would rotate and cut down a tree and grab it and set it down, run it through a device, chippers and that. They'll take it for lumber, or they'll take it for pulp to create cardboard. My dad sold steel to fabricate equipment like that. Hydroax was one of the companies. So part of my growing up as a boy would be my dad explaining. He would say, "Hey, Bobby, I went to Manitowoc Engineering and I saw a tunnel boring machine that was so big they put it on the front end of a locomotive. And then they would take them to Sturgeon Bay Shipbuilding and they would ship them all over the world." He would say, "Did you know you can go anywhere in the world from the Great Lakes through the locks and all that? The locks adjust the water level and all that. That means they're dealing with elevation. We've got water that's higher. Actually, the Brazil salt flats that I've got in video and photos beautiful music in that. That's a salt flat that has evaporated salt that's over 3,000 feet up in the above sea level. Well, apparently we had a sea that was much, much higher than it is now. Anyway, I just found that fascinating that it worked out like that. We've got shark teeth in the desert and up on mountain tops. All kinds of evidence to the reality that we are being lied to and manipulated by that information that we believe to be true. It may not be true. Okay, so let's just pan this. I'm going to just pan like this. Okay, I'm going to wash off my tires a little bit. Show you what that mirror looks like. And I saw a boat that you might find interesting. I do. The Fission Physician. That's what it said on the side of it. So apparently physicians make a lot of money. I know some personally that have made a lot of money. And then we can see that they make a lot of money through documentaries and that. But here we go. I'm making sure nobody's on my tail here. Let's zoom in on this. How does the Fission Physician make so much money? Well, it's very, very clever. There is an intricate relationship between the media and what it promotes, the corporations that create the food that exacerbate medical conditions through contamination of the body. They're products that are toxic to our physiology and our psychology that make people depressed, like sugar, fat, dull, and imperceptive, like sugar does. It's like addictive, like cocaine. How about that? Or heroin. How about that? Yep, I'm telling on them. So they were, and the poisoning of the air we breathe and the water we drink, it's all going on. Fluoride in the water. Fluoride in other people's consumed and urinated out chemicals. They'll take the big stuff out, but still left with chemicals, like what passes through our bodies. And then there's biosludge. There's a hybrid. Let me flip this around. My Toyota Prius looked similar to that, different year. I had an 08. I met a couple, talked to them at the Liberty Mart fresh fruit stand. They had a beautiful pearl-colored 2014 Prius. Now the one I had was getting 50 miles to the gallon. Ooh, here's a person pulling their home, or a home. That's a contractor moving that. Tippy-toe repo. So if you don't make your payments, your home can be repossessed. I've got friends that live in cars, tents, mansions. How about that? Everything in between. Cars, mobile homes, motor homes, mansions, boats, yachts. People living all over and in cyberspace. So I like the idea of a white vehicle or ivory because it's cooler, and with the ultra low emissions of a Prius, it could run primarily on water or HHO, hydroxygen. You can look it up. It's turning water with a little bit of electricity and electrolytes into hydroxygen. Hydrogen's explosive, oxygen is a catalyst for combustion. It's a beautiful thing. And then I could actually create electricity with that. So a plug-in, right now I think what I would like to see, one of the options would be a brand new plug-in Toyota Prius that is the 2024 now, probably. You can plug it in, charge it up, run it on full electric, and then the battery charges up when the engine runs. And that could be run, I believe, on water. And whether or not you would want to give that to me, maybe even keep the ownership of it in your name, that's fine. I don't have the fabrication facility to make the HHO generator. I know how to do it, and I've got videos that show it on my channel. Stanley Meyer in the water car, you can see that. The Troy Reed magnet motor generator, actually creating electricity by rotating magnetic fields, you can see that. It's also known as zero-point energy or Tesla technology. There's the blue sky on the other side of that. How nice. You got a friendly neighborhood. Here's a friend of mine. He'll wave. It feels good. I'm not the bane of society or looked at with contempt by everybody, just some. Here's another friend of mine and his puppy. Yep, he's a waver too. Oh, you know what? I'm going to show you my friend Harco's Tesla Model Y. They took me out for my birthday. Very special. Wonderful people. I've helped them do things around their house, and they've been very generous to take me out to dinner. So they've got camper mode or pet mode that you can set a temperature, and it'll take the electricity that's come from probably nuclear in this area at, I believe, 13 cents per kilowatt, and keep his car climate controlled while it's on the driveway or in his garage, wherever he wants. And then if you go to a supercharger, that would be about 39 cents per kilowatt. Oh, he's got his Tesla is not there right now. Oh, you know where he probably is? My situational awareness kicking in. He's probably at the Little River Deli having breakfast with some friends. He's almost 80 years old, and he's still going out and working on machines. Some of the companies that my dad called on and sold steel to, he's also called on them to fix their very sophisticated AI and robotics equipment. Yeah, he said, Harco, you ought to go ahead and build a generator to make electricity while you drive. That's my friend Jeff there walking his puppy. He'll wave. And then there's another Tesla that is down this road. No, it's the other road. But at the corner, there's 1961. That's my birth year. The house's address is 1961. So when we had some flooding years ago, it was coming up in this neighborhood back here. So where I was on the gravel road, that would have all been covered up. Yeah, there's the 1961 there. One of the gentlemen that lives back here worked with the CIA. Hey, I've got all kinds of alphabet agency awareness of people that have worked with the system and the DOD and all kinds of non-disclosure agreements signed. I don't have a non-disclosure agreement in effect. I've got a full disclosure agreement in effect with the Most High. He created me to know and expose the truth about everything. And I have help from friends and family from all over the world helping me to look at information that would be good to know. I'm convinced of that. So imagine all these cars being perpetual driving machines that don't pollute, either through electricity or molecularly disassociated water and fed into the engine. There's, you can hear Stanley Meyer talk about retroactive installation of internal combustion engines that are converted with a retrofit system to run water. Could happen if the system wanted it to. But that system that's blaming us for overpopulation and overconsumption, man, they want to reduce the population, kill us off, and then have their society without all of us extras on the set. So I'm going to zoom in a bit. The water is about 2 feet higher. That's how that works. See, this car gets about 15 to 20 miles to the gallon. And that works. You can see how long the recording has been. And that's part of my test. Wow, they've got their sprinklers running just to make sure. How about that? So some irrigation systems will take into consideration that we've had a lot of rain. So then they won't run. Our irrigation system at home doesn't work because we had a lightning strike close by, and that lightning shocked our son Austin, or Gable. He was on a video game controller, and it was wired. Now, would it have gone through a wireless controller? I think probably not. But I was hit by lightning too. I talk about it. So, yeah, here's our swimming pool and clubhouse here. It's pretty nice. Oh, let me show you something. I think it's worth doing, so I'm going to do it. I've got a card that it's got a sensor on it. Now, some people have embedded sensors in their body to be able to access their car. I had a video on it. There was a person that took their key card for their Tesla part and put it in their hand so they could access their car by going ahead and putting their hand up to it. So I'm going to show you my wallet too. It's an interesting wallet. It's a low-tech but very effective. It's a Ziploc bag. I can put my phone in it if I want. So is it a mirror? Yeah, it's a mirror. You can see me and I'm waving. And then if I get it closer, you can see through it. It's about light and the position of the observer, whether it's the eyeball or the camera. Now, my card is in here. Oh, yeah, you can't see any number on that. Now listen. Oh, I guess it's not accessing it right now. Okay. It's got too much stuff around it, I think. So this is the key card. Oh, well, apparently they've got it turned off. So right up here, it's a light, but we do have, let me just show you. That's what it looks like. Maybe they've turned it off. It might be remote turned off. Camera and light right there. Light sensor. It'll go on when it needs to. And then there's this. Absolutely. I'm okay with that. But keep in mind, that's almost all of our lives the way that it is. The gate is to be kept closed at all times. Well, how do you get through there then? And why don't they want glass in here? Well, I'll tell you what, glass is really a bummer if you get it in your skin. I've had a glass sliver. It's worse than a cut. So, the truth about what? Like I say, the truth about everything. I'm not sure what I'm going to have for the thumbnail. Oh, what I was going to say about the children recognizing YouTube. They want to be YouTubers. That's a pretty popular career desire. They want to be famous YouTubers. Ta-da! I am. I don't get that many views now, but I did have. And I'm on Odyssey, and who knows? The person pretending to be Elon Musk yesterday, I sent him the link to my suspended account and said, you know, it'd be great if you would reinsert me into the, if you would reinstate me, reinsert me into the Matrix. Yeah, how about that? That's funny. So in this bag too, I've got my my remote control that allows me in my home, and it allows my car in there. So I think what I'm going to do is complete this. I started out that way in the garage, and I'm going to end up that way in the garage. I'm not afraid of people knowing where I live. It's not a big deal to me. The security system that I have is eternal security. I'm protected and directed by the Holy Spirit that spoke this world into existence. Why would I fear any of Satan's bagmen or women, demons, fallen angels, when the Almighty lives in and through me? Not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. That's a fact. And it's not just something I'm saying like in a braggadocious or bravado. It's a fact. I'm not afraid. That makes me dangerous to the deception, because a lot of people are intimidated by the evil in this world. Not me. Not going for it. Not having any of it. Truck coming. All right. Car coming. There's my friend Buddy. So a lot of the dog walkers are waivers and friendly people, and then there's rescue dog owners, and it's pretty cool. I meet a lot of fascinating people. So my grandparents had a tennis ball that would hang down from the ceiling to let them know where to stop the vehicle when it touched the windshield. I, on the other hand, put a little block of wood down there that serves a purpose of letting me know right where I need to be, and then I stop. Works good for me. So one of the other things that I'm going to do is just back up a little bit, and I'm going to show you the gratuitous placement there again, and the truth cycle. Now there's a motorcycle that they were running on hydroxygen. That's my Honda Shadow. And that's what it looks like. And this is just what water does. The puddles in the manhole covers. This was made in, let's see, sanitary sewer, doesn't say where it's made. But in Wisconsin, where I lived, Neenah Foundry made a bunch of them. And then a lot of them have come over from China. So here's where I'll have my my wind chimes hanging up when the wind subsides. Well, I talked about this yesterday. I didn't know if, well, so I've got my glass tabletops there, and I filled up my clean garbage can with water in case I needed like utility water. Now this wind chime actually went to the first Flat Earth conference in Denver. And I got this piece of granite from the beach, and then this will be suspended with a shepherd hook, kind of nice. And I like the trees to diffuse some of the wind, and the birds like it, the frogs, the ducks, the turtles. So we'll have little baby ducks that come on in here because they want to be protected from the predatory birds. An osprey will grab them. So that wind chime back there is fine, but the ones out here, yeah, they've got a little bit too much exposure to the wind. All right. So there you go. I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I want to thank you for your public and private encouragement. Feel free to reach out anytime you like. If you just want to talk or you want to provide information you think I should know about. Thank you so much. That'll be the end screen there.